Hello, everyone. I'm going to get to the Sherry part.
Yay.
What
Oh,
a week.
yeah, it's been interesting. For sure.
I feel like it's been a month. Like,
the energy has been very, very interesting. The full moon on Friday, and then Ostara on Sunday, and then spring equinox yesterday, which Ostara is basically the same thing as spring equinox, just one day off, but holy moly, energies.
So much shifting, so much emotion.
And moving into Aries season. Wow.
So much. Thanks.
Wow. Well, we had a beautiful drum ceremony on the full moon. Very beautiful.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I just finished sharing all the places. That drum ceremony was beautiful. And, she's upstairs. I finally finished my inner child drum that I got her when we did our first drum. How did that happen? How did I have her in the middle? Because it wasn't the first one, because I did my horse drum for the first one.
You did your horse drum.
Anyway, I got her in this middle period for whatever reason. I don't remember why I got her. Did I do two? I don't know. Anyways, around the time of this drum, I got my inner child drum, and I did this beautiful ombre. There's a picture of it in the group. I did this beautiful ombre drum, and she's going to be phenomenal. And she was fun because she was like raw. So she had some weird, like, it wasn't just like a circle one, right? And I was so excited. And then just incident after incident happened with this hide. Like, my dogs took it outside and they like chewed off the part that was like really cool, but like I still had the whole hide and it was enough to make the drum. And there's like this whole just this drum like went through it to be birthed. Like literally, like the drum was outside. My dogs took the drum outside. And then my dogs took the lacing, and like my drum, like my studio, like at my house, my office is closed. So I don't even know how they got the drum in the first place. It was this whole ordeal. And then I finally kind of got to this point where I'm like, I don't even want to make the drum anymore. Like, I'm done. I don't even. And so I was like, okay, well, Jennie, I'm gonna nail it. I'm gonna nail the drum, and I'm not gonna do lacing. That didn't work either. And I'm like, well, son of a bee, like this thing is never going to be done. Never going to be done. So at this drum ceremony, I brought it full intending to just give it to Jennie and be like, Jennie, you've got to finish this drum because apparently I can't finish it. And then it ended up working out that I soaked it in the water of the other drums and I finished it at the drum ceremony. And she is beautiful and I'm very happy with her. And she's very deep, which makes me also very happy.
Yes.
And it's just, it really does attune that these drum ceremonies are not like, they're really like minimally about the time of building the drum. And it's mostly about all the other shiz that goes into making them. And not everyone's going to have as dramatic of a drum birthing story as that one, but yeah.
Yes. Oh man, yeah, we birthed what? Was it 11 or 12? Was yours the 11th or the 12th?
I think mine was the 12th.
12th. We had a dozen drum babies born over the weekend, and some beautiful human said, "You guys are like drum doulas." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, that makes my heart so happy."
We are like little weirdo drum doulas, and I love it. I love it. They're so much fun. And I really like, even if you don't play it all the time, there's a time and a place, and just sometimes you just need to be able to beat the shit out of something. Like you just need to be able to, or just to feel the heartbeat. I always love drum ceremonies because it's really like about a rebirth of any kind. Like no matter what drum ceremony we do, it's always about the rebirth. And I guide so many meditations, but the rebirth meditations get me every time in the feelers.
Oh, it's so sweet.
I always choke up. I'm like saying the words and I'm like,
And Jasmine is not like super emotional. Like Jasmine's usually like the super calm, collected, steady. Carrie and I, we get a little emotional sometimes. So when Jasmine gets emotional, it's like I just stop and I'm like, oh,
oh, look at her.
just sending love, holding space is so beautiful.
Holding space for her to have human emotions and like be
Mm,
open. Yeah, it's
yes.
really, I love drum ceremonies. They take it out of us. They take it out of Jennie and I. We're kind of out of commish for a couple days after, but they're
Ah,
very fun.
yes.
I love them.
So fun.
What else? What
So
other
what
thoughts?
has been like the big underlying theme for you for this last week?
I am not responsible for carrying the weight and grief of any other souls.
Oh, yes.
And also the other piece of that is giving myself grace when I choose to do so, when I have chosen to take on the grief of another soul. Because it has been incredibly heavy. Um,
Mm,
I don't know. I'm trying to decide if I'm ready to kind of talk more about it or not. Um, I've sort of had this fear. So horses have always been my passion. I've had horses since I was very little, and I always knew I was going to kind of do work with them. But one thing that's always held me back is I think we can all know that there are some people who don't treat animals
mm,
as living beings. And some animals carry just as much trauma as people. And but they don't have choice for me. And that's always been hard is that people have choice to go into the drama. The critters in our life, the animals in our life don't. And that is really hard for me. And Source has been guiding me in the space of like, you have to work with these animals. Like, that's what you need to be doing. And um, just this week has been just very heavy with holding grief for horses for me, holding a grief for horses. And I know it's a part of the path. And it was my greatest fear. And the reason that I hadn't been doing it is because I was like, I don't know if I can do it. Like, I don't know if I can hold the grief
mm.
for these horses and their struggles and the things that have happened to them. And I did it. It was not fun. And I don't wish to hold it in that way again. But yeah, really learning that I have to be the light for them. Like, no matter if I'm in their life for a short time or a long time, I have to be the light. And usually by the time that they've found a person that's going to call me into their life, they're in a better space and I can start to hold and heal for them. And even for the people who are connected to them. So that kind of has been happening for the last couple of weeks for me. And then on Sunday, I had an opportunity to have a beautiful session with an owner and their horse. And it was like literally just the most healing thing. And it was like in the middle of like, if you live in Utah on Sunday, we had like a weird blizzard thing.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
so it was like in the middle of this blizzard thing, and there was a ton of people in the arena, and we still did it in this very public setting. We still had this beautiful healing session, and it was just like, I don't know if it was like Source being like, okay, here's a bone because you've just been really struggling for the last 2 weeks, but I appreciated the bone and I took it, and I was like, thank you.
Hmm,
Yeah,
amazing.
it's been
That's so fun.
interesting to learn. What is your aha from this week?
Um, it was really funny because Jasmine and I actually talked about this over the weekend. Um, but the day before the drum ceremony and the day of the drum ceremony, there was this heavy sadness that I was feeling. It's interesting. I felt it before and she felt it after.
Yeah.
Um, and the on Saturday we had a divine feminine activation workshop, and I went to be a participant at that because I was like, I just need to like. I worked all Friday night, worked all Saturday, or Friday, getting ready for the ceremony, and I just wanted to go and just be and not have to work at all. And the opening circle, she asked us, what are we releasing? What are you releasing at the beginning of this? And it was the exact same thing. I don't have to carry everybody's shit anymore. I don't have to heal and hold on to and carry and transmute and alchemize everybody else's stuff.
Yeah.
And so it was really interesting that Jasmine came to the same thing. Personally, in my life, I have been really doing, in Rising, we're doing a lot of inner child work and ancestral healing.
Yeah.
And as you guys know, I've had these rashes outbreak. My liver has been flaring up. They're like almost completely 100% gone. They're not itchy anymore either. So like, hallelujah. But my mom came down with something, and it was intrinsically connected to my liver. I was like, oh my gosh, we need to work on this.
Yeah.
And I have been doing all of this reading in gene keys. And all of the gene keys that I have been reading are talking about the, like, what happens to us in our first, oh my gosh, it's so weird. I am having so much deja vu. It's like blowing my mind right now. So I'm working on my Venus sequence right now. But the gene keys that I've been working on are all talking about what happens to us when we are in our mother's womb. And each trimester is linked with the first 7 years. The first trimester is linked with our first 7 years of life. That's to do with our physical function. Second trimester, third trimester, also from our 0 to 21, our energy, our emotion, our spirits, our body, our mental, everything was formed in the womb. And so just doing this inner child ancestral healing has been really just like mind blowing for me in a whole new level.
Yeah, well, and it's such an interesting thing because it is like a rebirth. It is the first time that I guided a rebirth meditation was the beginning of my inner child work. Like, really, like, there was a little bit of like awareness there, but like really rebirthing and connecting to that and walking that path and walking that journey is so interesting. And it's easy and hard all at the same time. Like, I don't really even know how to describe it because it's like, how can it be so hard to connect to myself, but like also easy to hear when I stop trying to do everything else?
Yeah.
And realizing how much stuff we're holding on to and how beautiful it is to just let it go.
Yes. So powerful.
I love it. And realizing we don't have to hold the grief of anyone else besides ourselves, including our ancestors, including all that stuff that we were blessed with. Because not by any fault. Like, grief inherently isn't bad. People having feelings inherently isn't bad. It just is something that we end up holding on to for whatever the reason, because that's how we've always lived our life, right? Because we want to help and heal other people. But in the end, we end up holding on to it and then passing it down.
Yep.
So, like, what happens if you just get rid of it? What happens if you just let it go and then the next person down the line doesn't have to heal it for you? Like, that's just a really contemplative question. What happens when you don't feel the need to hold on to any of it anymore? And what if everyone did that? What would our world look like? I mean, I know it's like that's a magic thing in like a utopia.
I know. But it's possible. I really do believe it's possible. But it starts with here. You have to do the work here first.
Yeah.
And so many people are out there going, well, this is the problem, and this is the problem, and you're the problem, the government's the problem, and this is and so going, okay, how do I start in here? And then it ripples out. If everybody would just turn the mirror in and just look in and go, okay, how do I heal these shadows within me? How do I step myself up into a higher vibration?
Yeah. And I think that, I mean, if we even just go back one step further, how do I even realize that I'm hurting? How do I even allow myself to get to a point of saying, I'm struggling? Like, for me, even in just the last couple of weeks, it's like, I'm depressed. Like, I'm in this space of like, I am really holding on to this heaviness. And as soon as I kind of got to the point of saying, wow, I'm really holding on to a lot here. Like, why? Why am I doing that? What is the point of this? Is this serving anyone? Is this healing anyone? And the answer was no, it wasn't. And it was in the Sunday meditation. We did a Sunday new moon equinox whatever meditation, and it was in that moment that I just received, like, you have to just be light. Getting down into the nitty gritty, getting down into all of that depression isn't helping anyone. And once you become aware of like, oh wow, okay, I'm not really serving anyone, holding on to this, it was so easy for me to, it was almost like instantaneous that I was like, oh,
Duh.
just stop holding on to it, give it to their highest self, give it back, and just say, I will help you do. I will guide you through. I will be the light for you, but I can't fix and heal it for you, because then I'm holding on to it, and that's not serving you or me. In fact, it's just pulling me down, which is just making the collective vibration not great.
Yeah.
So interesting.
I love it. It's beautiful.
I love it.
Yeah.
So much wisdom. This is a good one.
Yeah. It's been fun. It's been really interesting. Really, really interesting. And I feel like spring is just this, I don't know. I just feel like right now, I kind of feel like I'm in here and I'm just like getting ready to kind of peek out and go, okay, what are we doing this year? What are we creating? What's going to happen?
That's it. Jenny and I have been in this space of like, but this is a possibility, and this is a possibility, and this is a possibility, and this is a possibility. And I'm just like, Jenny, I can't change everything at one time. Like, I'm over here like trying to change all the things. And I'm like, sit your ass down. You have a lot of change coming in your life. You don't need to change everything. Just wait it out and you will know. But I do love that burst of energy that comes with spring. So my advice to you, if that's happening and you're trying to change all of your whole life right now, stop, take a deep breath, and channel that energy into one thing, not 400 things. Just the one thing. Just pick the one thing at a time. And no, don't try to
watch it ripple.
Yes.
Yeah.
Don't try to uproot your entire life and change all the things about your whole life in one day.
Beautiful.
Talking for a friend. Okay. Well, I love these because it's like exciting to think, okay, in a whole nother week, we're going to have a whole different like set of things.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see where we are next week.
Yeah. Ever learning and growing and onward and upward.
Onward and upward.
Onward and upward. Always. Always. Even when it feels like you're spiraling down, it's more of a going in and then you can go up. I don't know.
Absolutely. 100%.
Yeah. Just every time I'm like, oh, how does nature work? Because we're nature. We're part of nature, right?
Yeah.
So if you look at those seeds, the seeds that you've planted, and we talked about this, I want to say in the ceremony, you don't plant the seed and then like a couple days later go back and dig it up and like, is it working? Oh, yeah. I think I changed my mind. I want this seed now. And then you plant a couple days later, dig it up. I want this seed now, right? It's like you have to let the seeds sow. And there's going to be a little bit of darkness. And first it cracks open and the roots go down first before it starts to move up.
So you have to really anchor in. I mean, as an earth energy person, I am like, I go down into Mother Gaia, and that is into the universe. So even going down is still going within. It's still going to source. It's just a different way.
Yeah.
So sometimes you have to get there in a little bit of a different go, and knowing that it's all rhythms of life, and we get to go through all the emotions because we signed up to come to Earth School and learn how to feel things, and that's okay. And just finding the grace And I feel like the sooner that you find the grace in whatever emotion you are in, the sooner you get to get out of it if it doesn't feel good to you anymore. And you just have to really surrender. That came up in Rising, like really surrendering, like not saying like, oh, I surrender, not like saying it, but like feeling it. They're two different things.
Mm-hmm.
To really surrender and really feel it. So, yeah.
Beautiful. Yay. Happy spring.
Happy spring, everyone.
Light overcoming dark. Yes.
I hope everyone has a really lovely week.
Yeah.
And that you guys do something fun. I think the weather's supposed to be really amazing here. So I hope you get to go do something outside and put your feet in the earth and just kind of look towards the sun and it will guide you.
Yes.
It will guide you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We love you guys.
Mm-hmm.
And we will see you tomorrow for readings.
Yeah, Wednesday night. Woo, woo.
Wednesday. Hey, bye everyone.
Bye.